Hey man, let's be real. Most men ruin their chances, not because they're bad men, not because they lack value, but because they refuse to master restraint. They think love is proven by constant communication, by checking in, by showing her she's always on their mind. But here's the truth. Every time you text first, every time you call without her effort, every time you go looking for her, you strip yourself of power. You send the message that your world revolves around her, and nothing kills attraction faster than a man who abandons his mission for her attention. The strongest move you can make is silence. Don't text her, don't call her, don't look for her. That absence, that self-control, speaks louder than 1,000 words. You must understand that women are not drawn to the man who smothers them with effort. They're drawn to the man who is centered, focused, and hard to reach. When you don't text her, you force her to wonder what you're doing. When you don't call her, you force her to feel the absence of your voice. When you don't look for her, you create space where curiosity grows. And that curiosity is the seed of attraction. Because women don't crave what's fully available, they crave what's scarce. And the moment you stop giving yourself away for free, you become valuable in her eyes. She may not admit it, but her silence will scream with questions. Why hasn't he reached out? What is he doing? Who is he with? Restraint is not weakness, it's discipline. It's saying, I could reach out, but I won't. I could chase, but I refuse. That discipline sends a message more powerful than any words. You're not desperate, you're not needy. You're not a man who collapses into action every time fear whispers in your ear. Instead, you're a man who waits, who holds frame, who moves only when it serves his mission, not when emotions pressure him. And women feel this deeply. They may act offended, they may accuse you of not caring, but beneath it all, they respect it. Because a man who doesn't chase is a man who has value. Think about how many times men have destroyed themselves by over-communication. They texted too much and she got bored. They called too often and she pulled away. They looked for her constantly and she lost respect. And when she left, the man sat there confused, thinking he failed because he didn't give enough, when in reality, he failed because he gave too much. Women don't leave men because they're starved of attention. They leave men because the attention became worthless. Scarcity creates value. And if you don't discipline yourself to pull back, to let her wander, to let her miss you, you'll always lose to the man who mastered silence. Here's the paradox. The less you chase her, the more she'll chase you. When you don't text her, she starts staring at her phone, waiting for your name to pop up. When you don't call her, she starts replaying your last conversation in her mind. When you don't look for her, she starts searching for ways to bump into you, to reconnect, to feel your presence again. That's the game most men never understand. Silence is not emptiness, it's power. And when you use it properly, it flips the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the one chasing, she is. And once she invests, once she starts chasing, that's when her attraction becomes real. The reason silence works so powerfully is because it creates tension, and tension is the fuel of attraction. When you don't text her, her mind starts to fill in the blanks. She begins to wonder if you've moved on, if you're too busy for her, if you found someone else. This is not about playing childish games, it's about allowing her to feel the reality of your absence. Most men destroy this tension by always being available, always reassuring, always proving their love. But when you don't look for her, you put the ball in her court. You give her space to feel the weight of losing your attention. And women value what they fear losing. If you never create that fear, she never values you. Another reason silence is so effective is because it forces her to invest. In every relationship, one person invests more than the other, and the one who invests more always feels more. If you're the one sending long texts, initiating every call, planning every meetup, then you're doing all the investing. And because she didn't have to work for your attention, she doesn't value it. But when you hold back, when you don't chase, she's the one who has to reach out. She's the one staring at her phone, debating whether to text first. She's the one asking her friends for advice. That investment hooks her deeper than anything you could ever say. And when she invests, her attraction grows because human psychology is simple. We value what we work for. Silence also reveals the truth about her interest level. If you stop texting, stop calling, stop looking for her, and she makes no effort whatsoever, then she was never truly invested. Your silence didn't push her away. It simply exposed the reality that she was never coming closer. And as painful as that may feel, it's a gift, because it saves you from wasting time on someone who doesn't value you. But if she does reach out, if she does put in effort, then you know her interest was real. Silence doesn't just build attraction, it filters it. It separates the women who only wanted attention from the women who actually want you. And that clarity, brother, is priceless. Discipline in silence strengthens you as a man. It forces you to confront your own impulses, your own neediness, your own fear of being forgotten. Every time you resist the urge to text, you reclaim power from your emotions. Every time you stop yourself from calling, you build resilience. Every time you refuse to look for her, you reinforce the truth that your mission, your vision, your world comes first. That's why silence is not just about her, it's about you, it's training, it's self-mastery. Because the man who can sit in silence without collapsing is the man who becomes unshakable in every area of life. If you can master this with women, brother, you can master it with anything. Let me give you the harsh truth. If you chase her, she will run. If you call her endlessly, she will stop picking up. If you text her non-stop, she will stop replying. But if you don't chase, if you don't look for her, if you sit back calmly, she will feel your absence like a burn. She will notice the silence more than she ever noticed your words. Because silence cannot be ignored. It forces her to think, and in that thinking, she begins to remember your presence, your energy, the moments you shared. She begins to realize how much space you held in her life, and how empty it feels without you. That realization, brother, is your greatest weapon, and you only unlock it when you stay silent. One of the hardest truths men must face is that chasing destroys respect. When you chase her, you show her that her presence is more valuable than your dignity. You communicate, even without words, that she is above you and that your time and attention exist only to please her. And women don't love what they don't respect. That's why she pulls away when you text her non-stop, when you call repeatedly, when you look for her like you can't breathe without her. It's not that she doesn't notice your effort, it's that your effort cheapens you. The man who needs her validation to feel whole is never respected, but the man who can stand in silence, who can let her walk without chasing, becomes unforgettable. Don't ever forget this. Women crave mystery. They want to wonder about you, to question where you stand, to feel a little bit unsure if they truly have you. That tension is what keeps attraction alive. When you don't text, don't call, don't look for her, you create that mystery. You force her to step into uncertainty. And while most men think that uncertainty will push her away, the reality is that uncertainty hooks her deeper. Because human nature is addicted to solving puzzles. If you're always available, always predictable, always in her face, she has nothing to solve. But if you disappear into silence, you become the mystery she can't ignore. Silence flips the script. Instead of you asking, does she like me? Will she come back? She begins asking, why hasn't he called? Why hasn't he texted? Has he moved on? That reversal is everything. Because the one asking the questions is the one investing. And when she starts investing, she's no longer passive, she's active. She's not the prize anymore, you are. But if you chase, if you constantly reach out, she never has to ask those questions. She already knows you're hers, even if she hasn't given you the same in return. That's why silence is so powerful. It makes her do the work. It makes her wonder. It makes her earn what you were giving away too easily before. Let's be real, silence is uncomfortable. It burns. It makes your chest tight. Your mind restless, your hand itch to reach for the phone. But that discomfort is your training ground. Every time you resist the urge to break silence, you become stronger. Every time you hold frame while your emotions scream at you to chase, you prove to yourself that you are in control, not your impulses, not your fears, not your need for reassurance. And that self-control doesn't just make you attractive to women, it makes you powerful as a man. Because the man who masters himself cannot be mastered by anyone else. Your silence is not just about her, it's about building your own unshakable discipline. Here's the paradox you must embrace. Silence might make her angry, but it will also make her respect you. She may call you distant, accuse you of not caring, or even test you by pulling away further. But beneath it all, she respects it. Because women don't respect the man, they can move with ease. They respect the man who holds ground, who doesn't collapse, who doesn't give in, just because she's uncomfortable. And when she feels that respect, her attraction grows. She may fight it, she may resist it, but she cannot deny it, because deep down, every woman craves a man she cannot control, and silence proves you are that man. Silence is the mirror that shows you her true interest. Any woman can say she cares when you're showering her with attention, but the truth is revealed when you stop. If she disappears when you stop chasing, she was never invested. She only wanted the validation you gave her. But if she reaches out, if she makes the effort, if she notices your absence and tries to close the gap, that's when you know she values you. That's the gift of silence. It removes all illusions. You no longer have to guess where she stands, because her actions will answer for her. And once you learn to trust silence, you'll never waste your time on women who are only playing with your energy. Silence also forces her to reflect. When you don't text her, she starts wondering why. When you don't call, she replays her last interactions with you, trying to figure out what shifted. When you don't look for her, she feels the absence of your presence more than she ever valued your constant attention. This reflection creates longing, and longing is what binds women more than any words could. She may fight the thought, she may try to distract herself, but the silence lingers. It whispers to her in quiet moments, reminding her of the man who didn't chase, the man who stood calm, the man who refused to collapse into neediness. That memory burns deeper than anything you could ever say. Silence also protects your energy. Every time you reach out without reciprocity, you drain yourself. Every time you chase without effort from her side, you weaken your spirit. And over time, you begin to feel empty, not because you love too much, but because you gave too much without return. But when you choose silence, you stop bleeding energy into a one-sided exchange. You reclaim your time, your focus, your strength. You stop building her ego at the cost of your own, and instead, you redirect that energy into yourself, into your mission, your goals, your growth. Silence isn't just about her, it's about keeping your fire burning for the things that truly matter. The silence of no texts, no calls, no looking for her is also the ultimate test of your masculinity, because every part of you will want to break it. Every insecurity will whisper that she'll forget you. Every fear will scream that you'll lose her forever, and most men fold under that pressure. They give in, they send a just checking in text, they make the unnecessary call, they chase to soothe their own fear. But the man who holds the line, the man who sits in silence, proves to himself that he is in control, and that self-control is magnetic. Women can feel it, they may not say it, but they sense the difference between a man who needs them and a man who chooses them. And women always chase the man who chooses, not the man who begs. Here's the beauty of silence. It creates contrast. When you finally do speak, when you finally do give attention, it lands heavier. Because it's rare, because it's earned, because it wasn't given away freely every moment of the day. That contrast makes your presence valuable. She'll hang on to your words more, she'll appreciate your calls more, she'll look forward to your texts more. But that only happens if you first starve her of the abundance she took for granted. Silence sharpens your value. It takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary. And once you learn to use that contrast, you'll never go back to over-communication again. You must realize that women are wired to test your strength. When you don't text, don't call, don't look for her, she will notice, and her first instinct may be to push back. She may post something online to get your attention. She may drop hints through friends. She may even try to provoke you with silence of her own. This is where most men crumble. They panic and rush back in, proving that her absence controls them. But the man who stays calm, who doesn't break discipline, who refuses to play her emotional game, that man passes the test, because she realizes she can't bend you. And the woman who can't bend you will always respect you more than the one she can control. Silence also teaches you who she really is. If she respects your distance, if she values your space, if she eventually reaches out with genuine effort, then she's capable of maturity. But if she turns bitter, manipulative, or vengeful when you stop chasing, then she was never there for you. She was only there for the attention. And isn't that worth knowing early? Most men find out too late, after years wasted, but silence speeds up the process. It's a filter. It weeds out the women who only wanted to feed on your energy from the ones who actually want to build something real. And brother, once you've seen that clearly, you'll never again waste yourself on illusions. Another truth you must embrace is that women secretly crave men who don't break under silence. They'll never admit it out loud, but it's real. When you hold back, you create the polarity they long for. You become the solid ground while they swirl in emotion. And that polarity is what keeps attraction alive. If you collapse into constant reassurance, you become another emotional creature like her. But when you withhold, when you remain steady, when you let her miss you, instead of begging for her presence, she feels something deeper. She feels the safety of your strength. And even if she fights it, she will always be drawn back to it. Silence is not the absence of love. It's the presence of self-respect. When you don't text her, don't call her, don't look for her, you're not saying she doesn't matter, you're saying you matter too. You're saying your time is valuable, your energy is precious, your mission comes first. And women are drawn to men who have that respect for themselves, because if you don't respect your own energy, how can she? Silence is not punishment, it's preservation. You preserve your dignity, your frame, your value. And in doing so, you force her to rise to meet you, instead of lowering yourself to chase her. That shift alone can change every dynamic you ever have with women. So remember this, don't text her, don't call her, don't look for her, not because you don't care, but because caring doesn't mean chasing, not because you're cold, but because warmth without scarcity is taken for granted, not because you want to hurt her, but because you refuse to hurt yourself by overgiving. Silence is your weapon, restraint is your strength, and distance is your power. When you live this way, you stop losing women through desperation, and you start attracting them through discipline. And the ones who can't handle it, let them go. Because you were never meant to live in the world of chasing. You were meant to stand in the world of leading. And the man who leads with silence never loses.